Love it. Love it. I'm just gonna smoke for a second, listen to the birds. Gravity bong, homemade. Freshly made it today. I give myself a blowout. Do you like it? Say you like it. Okay. Welcome to Awake and Bake, an educational, high vibrational, mystical, spiritual show. I'm your host, Danny, and today is a smoke with me. If you couldn't tell by the title, we're getting high this episode, you guys. I'm not playing around, okay? We are smoking together. I have my homemade gravity bong, just made it today. So everybody, let's start this off taking a hit together. I have my notes like right there. So if you see me like kind of looking in the corner, sorry, get over it. Stoner friendly episode, baby. You're definitely gonna need water. How are we doing, guys? How are we feeling? Personally, I feel crazy. I kind of feel like I do feel like either I am leveling up, which is probably what it is. I think that I'm leveling up right now and having like a consciousness shift. And that's why I'm tired, because I'm exhausted. It's either that or my endometriosis. It could be either one, honestly. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I am going through a transition phase right now that I know it is clearly here to help me grow. It's one of those times where it's like, I could either choose to be conscious of what's happening and grow through it and like kind of be in control of it, or I can revert back to like old patterns and old reactions and kind of be like a victim to the circumstance instead of taking control of the situation and rewriting new pathways basically to handle it. I'm not going through anything that I cannot handle. I've said this before, but I'm pretty sure the worst part of my life is already over. Fingers crossed. If you know me, it's like a joke that instead of crossed, I say crotched. So fingers crotched. But because I am choosing to use this as an opportunity to challenge myself and to grow and to not just fall back into old patterns, I really think I'm doing something. I told myself I wanted to take this year specifically. So I turned 25 in October of 2022, right? So I'm 25 now. So I'm such a rounder, guys. If you don't know me, I round big time. So to me, I'm like 2023 is like my year to be 25 because I'm 25 for most of this year. And I want to take this year to really not perfect, because I know it's a journey and we're always working on it, but I want to get my mental health to a place where I have so much emotional control and I've grown so much where I'm not going to let my mental health affect the people around me. I'm not going to let it impact the people that I love, and I'm not going to let what I'm going through project out to others. And I don't think that I'm someone who abuses people or really harms them, but I don't want to even do it like a little bit. And I know that there are times, like just from like, I've lived with Isaiah for years now. We've been together for many years at this point, and there are times where I notice like, oh wait, this is kind of a pattern for myself and I don't want it to continue. So then I typically try to like work on it and fix it, you know what I mean? That's just one example, but what I'm saying is I'm not perfect and I'm aware of that, and this is a time where I really just want to take this year to work on myself, where I'm not going to hurt other people because of the shit I'm going through. Mostly this is because I just want to like level up as a person. I just want to like really, I always say like talk the talk, walk the walk, and I really just want to do that. Also, one day I realized I kind of do want to be a mom, so, which is crazy, and I don't want to talk about it because I'm still dissecting that and embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed, but I'm like, ugh, it's so much. I don't know when that's gonna be, but I want to, you know, be ready for it whenever that happens, especially if it's like something that happens unexpectedly. I don't want to only have 9 months to be working on myself, you know what I mean? I feel like I work on myself all the time. So I don't know if this makes sense. Let's get higher, because I kind of lost my train of thought. So I read this book, and I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but I feel like I read it for a reason. That was just a weed cough, guys. I'm not sick. Come on, we're smoking. So I read this book, yeah, and it's called Conversations with God, and I keep talking about it, and I'm sorry, but it really did change my life, especially the parts that resonated with me. So something that I really recommend you guys, no matter what you're reading, no matter what like you're taking in, even if it's like someone who you really look up to and you're like, everything they say makes so much sense and I typically love it, just don't like dedicate yourself to like the words on the page and like what they're saying, because you have to always remember everything that a person is saying, me included, right? So when I'm channeling source and when I'm in a flow state, or what I understand to be a flow state, where I'm like, guys, this is really what I think is some great advice that I think source, God, the universe gave me. Even that itself is being filtered through my brain and my words and how I see the world and my experiences. So everything is through someone's personal filter. So always try to remember that. There were so many things that I learned from this book. One of them is that we all have our own filter and how we see things. And so another thing that was directly related to that I learned was, I'm not coming at the Bible, yes I am, but not in a disrespectful way, in a logical way, in a way that, hey, in the book, God said this. And in the book, the God figure said that the last way that the universe or source will ever communicate with you would be through words, because it's so easy to misinterpret those. It's so easy for people to like kind of not intentionally even change it, but everyone filters things through their own lens, and then some people do have their own agenda, right? So it's like the way that to really go about life is to be like base it on the feeling, like how does this feel? And I want to read something, because if you're like, well bitch, I don't know, like what if a hater feels a certain way about it and a lover feels a different way about it? I got you. So one quote that it says in the book is, our basic instinct is not actually survival, but rather fairness, oneness, and love. So right away, any type of hate, any type of division, any type of like, I'm better than you, or you can't do that, you're not allowed to do this, like, done. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And this quote elaborates a little bit more. It says, the highest thought is always the thought which contains joy. The clearest words are the words which contain truth. And the grandest feeling is that feeling which you call love. So joy, truth, and love. So if it doesn't have those three, if it's coming from hate or resentment or fear, even fear, bitch, let's talk about fear, but let's take a hit. Have some water. Mine looks crazy because it's water and lemon. And it had cucumber, so it's different colors. It's piss water. I'm just kidding. So another quote from the book was, every decision is made from one of two places, love or fear. And when you really think about it, bitch, correct. So figure out where it's coming from. And if it's coming from fear, I feel like it's probably not the right decision. You might want to reconsider, or at least ask yourself, is that fear valid? Is that fear based in love? I don't know. Just think about it. I'm not God, so like interpret that however you need to. I didn't write that. These aren't my original thoughts. These are just things that I was like, let's talk about that. It's like kind of a think question, like a think piece. Let's have a little moment on it. Like what was the author channeling through source in that moment? You know what I mean? Like, because to me, if a decision is coming from fear, then it's probably not a right decision, or you just need to really evaluate what is that fear based in. So for example, like deciding something simple, like deciding to get a security system for your house. So funny that I'm using that example. I've never had a security system for my house. But you know, that could be based in fear, but for like a love of your family. If you like have children and a family and stuff and you just like want them to be safe, yeah, get a security alarm system. That makes sense. But if it's something that's kind of hateful, y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to like get into politics, but you know exactly what I mean. Reconsider. This book covered a lot of shit, but basically it was asking the question, it was answering the question about us receiving signs all the time. And it said that the reason that we often reject these signs and these feelings from source is because if we acknowledge that we are receiving these messages directly, we are receiving them directly, then we're responsible for interpreting them and choosing to act upon them. And that at me so fucking hard. I find myself tapping into source power, this connection with the universe or with God, whatever you want to call it, whenever I feel like it, right? But what if I was to just do that all the time? That's kind of what I'm like trying to do, but it's fucking hard because I also overthink it. And then so sometimes I get like caught up in the moment and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to be like constantly thinking like, are there signs from source? But then I'm like, that's kind of overdoing it. That's like kind of like becoming obsessed with it, and I need to not overanalyze it. I need to not overthink it. So I'm always kind of, it's a little bit hard, like I'm adjusting to it, but it is helping me navigate this time of my life where I am going through things that are just like normal growing pains of being an adult, of being you know, a person an imperfect person, right, with an imperfect past. It's just like part of growing. And I'm just gonna look at it that way instead of looking at it like, oh, this is so annoying, I'm having such a hard time right now. I'm like, this is a challenge that I'm accepting. Okay, take another hit because this video is coming to an end, and I planned out when I would smoke, like, in my notes. But guys, I'm getting really fucking high, so I'm glad this video is almost over. So I did want to end this talking about movement. I know. Moving your body helps so much, you guys. So I've been cycle syncing. So there's only certain times during the month where I'm actually like working out, what I would consider working out, like using weights, using like resistance bands, like, I don't know, like gym energy, you know what I mean? That level working out. And then there are times of the month where I'm not doing that, and a simple walk will suffice, and that walk will feel like you just worked out during certain times of the month if you start cycle syncing. It's crazy, but it's really, really helpful with the way that I've been able to maintain a certain level of health within my body, a certain level of energy, and a certain level of stability. Again, I think that does play into like why I've been okay navigating this transition period right now. What I've been doing is I've been focusing on fulfilling these 3 areas throughout my day, every day, even if it's just in some small way, because you can't always like fit all, like, you can't evenly split up your day all the time, you know what I mean? Like, people have lives, people have jobs, people have responsibilities. I totally get it. But try to fulfill mind, body, and spirit throughout your day, every day, in some way, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's through the way that you eat, whether that's through creativity, whether that's through taking time to journal, whether that's through going outside, getting on a hike, whether that's through like just taking the time to like rest and watch your favorite TV show, because you never get time for yourself to just like decompress. Like, mind, body, and spirit, fulfill each of those areas once a day, at least in some way. Stay high.